Nostalgia is a powerful drug. It can take us back to a simpler time, where we didn't have to worry about much besides school and cleaning our room. Thus, experiences and objects associated with those simpler times often hold special meaning with us, and we tend to overlook their shortcomings and weaknesses. For many people, Super Mario 64, a beloved game, falls into that category. For me, not so much. It can be easy to forget this game is quickly approaching its 30-year anniversary, given how much it's talked about by 30-something-year-olds on the internet. You see, there's a difference between us. I'm not a 30-something-year-old on the internet. I'm a 20-something-year-old on the internet. And you know what that difference is? I haven't dropped out of college to do content creation full-time. Not yet, at least. That, and the games that we played when we were younger, and thus nostalgic for. They grew up playing Mario 64, I grew up with the Mario Galaxy games, and my younger cousins grew up playing Mario Odyssey. We'll each have different experiences based on the games that we played at our younger ages. And it was partly this idea, and also a desire to just do something with this channel already, that gave me an idea. The 3D Mario series is well known, beloved by all, and only mostly talked about to death online. So, why not cover all of them and give my honest takes with a Nintendo Switch 2 on the horizon and a new 3D Mario game certain to come soon after. So strap in, grab something to eat, and sit down. This will be our first step into a wild ride. Super Mario 64 released in 1996 as a launch title for the, wouldn't you believe it, Nintendo 64.
Really?
While a small handful of 3D platforms have been developed and released, as well as Nintendo themselves experimenting with exploring more 3D space, with some games on the Super Nintendo like Star Fox, Super Mario 64 took a lot of that preliminary work and built on it, adding a few more features that would set the standard for many 3D platformers to come. Most notably, it introduced full 360-degree analog movement and an adjustable camera. These are an expectation for most, if not all, 3D platformers today. So it's kind of wild that this is where they were introduced. These two features are explained to the player within the first minute of booting up a new save file, so letting someone who's unfamiliar with this new way of playing explore outside the castle with these features is a really great introduction of what this game will be like. Speaking of which, let's talk about the beginning of this game. Princess Peach invites Mario over for some cake. He shows up only to find out Bowser has gotten there before him and trapped everyone in the castle. He's locked most of the doors and hidden power stars all over different paintings. The more power stars Mario retrieves, the more doors he can open, the more castle he can explore to eventually defeat Bowser and rescue Princess Peach. It's a simple premise, but previous Mario games have given you less context before shoving you into World 1-1, so this is to be expected. We don't often play Mario platformers exclusively for stories, so there's no point complaining about the plot of this game. But what I do want to talk about is the movement. Those who played a 3D Mario game know what to expect. You run, jump, and as of right now, this is the only Mario platformer where you have a dedicated button for punching and kicking. Other games have semblances of this. In Sunshine you can kick certain stunned enemies, and in Galaxy you can use your spin to defeat a lot of enemies, but in this game it's pretty vanilla in its combat, but it works well. Timing inputs on a jump multiple times in a row will give you a much higher triple jump. Quickly flicking the stick in the opposite direction, moving and jumping will allow you to do a side flip, which gives you a bit more height than regular jump. You can crouch, do a low kick while crouching. Jumping while crouching allows you to perform backflip. You can kick off of walls for some extra height. Hitting the crouch button after jumping will bring you back down to earth at a faster speed, and this will often allow you to affect certain elements of stage. And my personal favorite is the long jump. While running, if you chain a jump right after hitting the crouch button, Mario will cover a good amount of horizontal distance. I find this move incredibly versatile as it covers a lot of ground very quickly and can also help you circumvent some parts of a stage by allowing you to leap over larger gaps. I feel it's one of the best moves added in this game and one of the best moves in Mario's overall moveset in the future. We will come back to the long jump in a later video. There are a few nitpicks, however, and just because this game nailed most of 3D movement on the first try doesn't mean these just get to slide by. The main issue Mario's got is learning how to turn around. If he's moving really fast and you slam the stick in the opposite direction, we don't have many problems. He does a little skid and turns around. But if Mario is walking at a leisurely pace, a pace that one would usually walk at if you're on a narrow ledge and don't want to risk running off, and you turn him around then, sometimes he does this weird maneuver where he walks a bit to the side before fully turning around, like he's avoiding stepping on some moldy cheese or something. A bit awkward if where you're stepping to avoid said cheese is the bottomless void. Other than that, the camera. Let's talk about the camera real quick. The idea of a camera being controlled independent of where the character is facing was still a bit of a revolutionary idea, and it mostly works well. big emphasis on mostly. The game will sometimes put some boundaries on where the camera can go, a big example being this fixed camera angle here in the library in Big Boo's Haunt. This makes sense, there's only really one camera angle that works well to show you everything that you need to see. There's not much point in moving the camera. Then you'll have moments where the camera simply won't turn a certain way even when it has plenty of room to do so. This would seemingly happen at random, and I often couldn't predict when it would happen. Also, sometimes the camera would just simply move in a direction that didn't really work, and you would have to readjust the camera to get where you're going. This wouldn't happen enough to be very frustrating, but it did happen more often than I would have liked. But with those nitpicks out of the way, there's levels in this game. Why don't we talk about them? Super Mario 64 has 15 major courses that contain 7 stars each, with another handful of separate areas and secret stages that usually hold just 1 star, and 3 which also contain fights against Bowser. Overall, there are 120 stars you can obtain in this game, but you only need 70 to finish it. The first level you can enter here is Bob-omb Battlefield, and this level needs no introduction. Even if you never played this game, you've seen this level, and you've heard this music. Bob-omb Battlefield is your typical grassland stage, the crafted introduction that can help you learn mechanics that will be used later on in the game. The first mission, Big Bob-omb on the Summit, gives you a very clear indication of what to do. There's a large summit, clearly visible from anywhere on the map. Head to it. There, King Bob-omb challenges you to a contest of who can throw each other around the most. It's a very simple boss that has limited opportunity to actually damage you. The most likely way it will is if he happens to throw you off the summit and you take fall damage. But once you can get behind him, you can use your dedicated attack button to pick him up and throw him. Once you've defeated him, King Bob-omb hints that you can defeat Bowser in a very similar way, and that is how you likely get your first Power Star. But it's not the only option you have to do so. There's a small handful of stars that can be your first here in Bob-omb Battlefield, whether it be defeating the king, knowing how to free the Chain Chomp, a good depth of knowledge of the game to get you up to this island before unlocking the cannons, or obtaining 100 coins or 8 red coins can also net you your first star. This is a departure from previous Mario games, which consisted of get to the end, move on to the next level, rinse and repeat. Mario 64's stages are much more open-ended, with many of the power stars being obtainable no matter which mission you select. A few stars do require a specific mission to be chosen or may require a certain item, but the specific missions are few and far between, and we'll get to required items in a bit. But for the most part, you can get any star in any mission, and there's only a handful of stars that absolutely need to be collected to finish the game. Many of the ones you grab will be your choice. You decide what stars to get to meet the game's next requirement. After obtaining your first star, you'll have 2 more doors open to you. One leads to Whomp's Fortress, which is a similar song and dance to Bob-omb Battlefield. You can challenge the boss at the top or explore around to get other stars. This is where you'll find about cannons if you already did it in Bob-omb Battlefield, and you'll likely spot this strange transparent green block. There's a similar one in Bob-omb Battlefield, but that one's red. We'll get to these shortly. The other 1-star door in the castle leads to a seemingly empty room until your curious self jumps into this window here. This will likely be a first-time player's introduction to secret areas of the castle, this one being the castle slide. Make it to the end and you'll get a power star, but if you hop back in and clear the slide in under 21 seconds, you'll get another. It's a great introduction and reminder to the player to make sure to explore every inch of the castle, seeing as you'll never know what you'll find. Again, we will come back to this later. By now, you've likely obtained at least 3 stars, which will open up 2 more doors here on the main floor. You now have access to Cool Cool Mountain and Jolly Roger Bay. Cool Cool Mountain is what it sounds like, an ice stage. There's another slide here with a 2nd star available if you race the penguin down it later. You can also build a snowman. You can also reunite a lost penguin with its mama. Just make sure you bring the right one. I don't have much to say with this level. There's a later course that has similar theming that I find more interesting, so we'll delve into that later. Jolly Roger Bay I do like, but I also feel that there's a better water level in this game. But this is the first spot where you can hear this very sick beat. Here you're introduced to a chest opening puzzle. You've got to open them in the right order. There's a cannon you can use to get a star. There's an— oh my gosh, that is horrifying. What the heck is that? Even when I first played this game in my late teens, there's something about this eel that's just really unnerving. Also, another nitpick. In my latest playthrough, I could not get this thing to move for the life of me. You're supposed to lure it out to get inside the ship by simply swimming towards it, but after swimming straight towards the eel multiple times and ramming myself into it more than once, I could not get it to move. Again, pioneer of its genre, almost 30-year-old game, but I'm not pulling punches here. Getting this eel to move nowadays feels like random chance, and it sucks. Some of the 8 red coins are hidden in these clams though, and that is kind of fun. One more secret area in this room with the Jolly Roger Bay painting. It's a simple little swimming for red coins, and that's most of what you can do here. The big star door in the castle lobby requires 8 stars to open, and I'm guessing you've got at least that many at this point. So let's head into Bowser in the Dark World. This is most definitely not an open area to explore like the other stages. Bowser stages are platforming challenges, through and through. There is a star that you can get here by grabbing red coins, but for the most part it's simply get to the end and face the big guy himself. Speaking of the big guy... Okay, let's talk about the 3D models real quick. Most of these look fine. Mario is serviceable, that you can tell what the toads are, enemies are basic and easy. But while the eel was an unnerving ugly, Bowser's model is just ugly. The side profile, I can see where they were going for, but everywhere else? No. Please, let's just move on. Bowser's fight contains elements from the King Bob-omb fight in the first stage. Get behind Bowser, grab him by the tail, but don't just throw him. You can spin Bowser around by spinning the control stick, and then you press the button again to let go. Fling Bowser into a bomb on the edge, you win. Miss, wait for another opening, and try again. Defeating Bowser here doesn't give you a power star, but he does give you a key. This key will open the door to the basement, and it's from here that the game opens up a lot more. But before we explore the basement, if you've gotten at least 10 stars, you've probably seen a shaft of light in the main lobby of the castle. If you switch your camera to Mario's perspective and look up, welcome to the Tower of the Wing Cap. This is one of 3 secret stages that unlocks these game's power-ups. There aren't any super mushrooms or fire flowers in this game, and the stars have been repurposed as the game's main collectible, so hats. Why not? Dang it. Here we've gained access to the wing cap, which allows Mario to fly for a short distance and then glide, most easily accessed by performing a triple jump or shooting yourself out of the cannon. Controls are a bit inverted here, so keep that in mind. You can get a star by gliding and collecting all 8 red coins, but if you're having trouble getting used to the controls, you can simply hit the red switch to turn all the transparent red blocks in the various stages into blocks that will give you the wing cap. The next cap can be very easily obtained if you've beaten Bowser for the first time. Head down to the basement, walk through this door, and swim to this small section here. If you ground pound both of these pillars, the room and the moat outside the castle will drain. If you go out to explore, you'll find a hole that will give you access to the Vanish Cap stage. There's not as much of a bombastic of a show-off of the Vanish Cap's abilities in this stage, that you don't get dropped out of the sky, but Vanish Mario can walk through metal grates, some walls, and is immune to enemies while the cap is active. From there, it's time to explore the rest of the basement. Actually, first, we should probably head out to this courtyard. It feels like there's something we should check out there. Dang it, the castle's got ghosts. Unfortunately, in the grand Super Mario continuity, Luigi doesn't have his vacuum cleaner yet, so the next best thing is to sit on these ghosts. If you take out this Boo here, he'll use his evil ghost powers to trap Mario's soul in the cage. I suppose. There's not really an explanation given, it just kinda happens. Here's our first major deviation from standard Mario level themes at the time with Big Boo's Haunt. Even though we see ghost houses in Mario games all the time now, their introduction in Super Mario World was in the same decade as Super Mario 64, so they're a very recent addition at the time of this game. The music is low and threatening, the sky is dark, and this is definitely where the levels start a bit of an incline in difficulty. Not only is the platforming a bit more treacherous in some spots, some stars in Big Boo's Haunt actively require knowledge of chaining different moves together to progress, with this platform here requiring either a well-placed triple jump or a side flip to wall kick to access. There's also these paintings here that you need the Vanish Cap to walk through, one of them hiding a star behind it. Highlights here include the fight with the Big Boo, the merry-go-round in the basement, and this totally normal piano with no problems at all. It's a great foreboding level that starts to let go of your hand ever so slightly in terms of the difficulty. Let it be known that the slopes on this roof are glazed with grease and Mario cannot stand on them very long, so be careful when getting the star after you defeat the Boo on the roof. With the ghost problem taken care of, let's check out the rest of this basement. Let's start with the strange oily pit. What could go wrong there? Hazy Maze Cave is what it sounds like. Wow, whoever named these courses is on point. So accurate, so descriptive. You got a sweet remix of the underground theme from Super Mario Bros., a poison maze filled with moles, and whatever these guys are. Sniffits. You've also got this very fun platform that gave you no problems whatsoever, and this underground cave with what I believe to be the first appearance of Dory. If you ground pound on his back, he'll lower his head, which you could use to grab this star on this island. But first, we're gonna head into this door. It's in here that we get access to our final cap. The wing cap lets us fly, and the Vanish Cap makes us intangible, but the metal cap makes Mario invincible. Enemies die on contact, and Mario sinks in water, but it also allows him to walk through very strong currents, which we'll need to get all the red coins in this area. Plus, you got that theme song? Oh yeah. Somebody saw orchestra hit on the keyboard layout and had way too much fun. I feel that now is a good time as any to talk about my thoughts on the caps compared to other power-ups in different Mario games. Long story short, I do like them, but I feel that they're incredibly situational. The Vanish Cap works best for Big Boo's Haunt and Snowman's Land, which we'll get to in a bit. The Metal Cap works best for the water levels, Jolly Roger Bay, and Dire Docks, which we'll also get to in a second. And the Wing Cap works best for Shifting Sandland, which, again, we'll get to, trust me. Bob-omb Battlefield, and a secret stage that is near the very end of the game. I would like more opportunities to use these caps, but unfortunately the Metal Cap is used mostly in water levels, and I feel like it's a bit underutilized. And then the Wing Cap is only in a select few, and Vanish Cap? There is technically one more power-up, that's the Koopa Shell. This can be found either by jumping on a Koopa Trooper and relieving it of said shell, and they can sometimes be found in these yellow blocks. Hopping on it causes you to surf around, unable to stop until you take damage or run into a wall. You can blast through a good amount of enemies with this too, and you can travel on the surface of water and lava with no worries. I feel that this power-up is a bit less situational, but most of the levels that it appears in haven't been covered yet, so I figured now would be a good time to bring it up since it appears more often from here on out. With power-ups covered, let's clear out the rest of the basement. I hope you remembered that tip about exploring every inch of the castle, because Shifting Sandland is accessed by jumping into this wall. I knew where this was because I'd seen playthroughs and speedruns of this game before getting to play it myself, but for anyone playing this when it first came out, the only way you'd probably know about Shifting Sandland is through the playground rumor mill during recess. That, or you accidentally leaped in after missing this dang rabbit that won't sit still! He gives you a star, by the way. Shifting Sandland is a typical desert stage. You got vultures, pokies, quicksand, and a pyramid to explore. Good stuff. These mummified smiling thwomps are terrifying. Thank you very much. Lethal Lava Land has a lot of lava. Crazy, I know. You got another one of these eyeballs that you saw in Big Boo's Hunt, and the bullies! Kick them around before they kick you into molten rock. You can also hop into the volcano in the middle to grab a couple stars. And with that, we should have enough stars to open the next big star door. We need 30 of them. But not so fast. Before we tackle Bowser next, we first have to dismantle his navy in Dire Docks. In my opinion, the better water level in this game. Jolly Roger Bay is definitely more relaxed, but Dire Docks takes some of the ideas from that level and expounds on them and makes them a bit more challenging and in my opinion, a bit more fun. There's another treasure chest puzzle, but now you have to make sure not to get sucked in by the vortex. There's an underground area to explore, but instead of just the one star to collect, like in Jolly Roger Bay, there's plenty to get in here. And my favorite aspect of this level is the mission titled Collect the Caps. You can see this grate here with a star inside. Your first instinct is to use the Vanish Cap, and it is possible, though a bit trickier to obtain the star with the Vanish Cap alone, but there's a metal cap box right next to the Vanish Cap, and you can combine the two to quickly sink through the water and walk through the grate. It's a really cool concept of combining power-ups that I wish they played with a bit more. There's never really a point where you can combine all three caps together, and it definitely is unnecessary and unconventional, but the concept is certainly cool. Anyways, once you completed a star here, likely board Bowser's sub, the entrance to Dire Docks will recede, allowing you to challenge Bowser in the Fire Sea. Not much is different here, except for switching out the bottomless void for lava. The Bowser fight here is a bit more complex. He can shake the platform and teleport a short distance, but the concept is the same. Grab his tail, spin around, and let him go. Get the key, and now the upper floor of the castle is open to you. We got 4 levels here before our next big roadblock of 50 stars, and since we've covered a good amount of themes of movement, I'll breeze through these a bit quicker since you got the idea. Snowman's Land is a better Cool Coal Mountain. Fight me on this, with more variety and stars and the ability to use the Vanish Cap for a star since it's later in the game. You gotta fight against an ice bully, you need to get to the top of the snowman's head, which I admit is the 1 star in this level that I do have issues with. You got a Koopa Shell that you can use to surf around and get red coins, and there's an igloo you can explore. The entrance to the stage is another blank wall, but the mirror in the room hints at a stage being there, so I feel it's a bit more excusable than Shifting Sandland's entrance. Tall Mountain is an ever-increasing climb to the top. I felt that it was just okay. Having to climb most or all the way back up each time you got a star was a bit tiring, and you got a few narrow ledges that Mario will fall off of if you're not being extremely cautious. These laughing monkeys will haunt me in my dreams for a while. You do have another slide level here though, and I felt that it was pretty fun. Tiny Huge Island is a fun concept. Depending on which painting in the room you enter, you'll either be tiny or huge. Man, give the guy who named these levels a raise. He nailed every single one of these. The stars with Tiny Mario are more fun. I think Huge Mario does not work with the geometry of the Tiny Island, and I got frustrated with the luckily only 1 star that requires Huge Mario. And what Dry World, I have some issues with. The concept, again, like Tiny Huge Island, is cool. You have to raise and lower water levels to access different parts of the stage, and the section of the painting you enter will actually determine the initial water level. Cool idea, I just wish the triggers inside the level for the different water levels weren't spread all over the level and for the most part, very obscure places. The best part of this level, in my opinion, is the flooded town underneath. There's a couple of fun missions in there, and I think it's a nice small condensed playground that you get to figure out where the red coins are, kinda like a puzzle, which makes the rest of Wet Dry World feel way too big and spread out in comparison. Also, for someone still getting used to some of the controls and where the different water level triggers are in this level, the town is annoying to get to. The entrance is off in the corner, with the only way to get into it being the highest water level. And if you don't know where that trigger is in the level, or if you don't know about the secret of different levels of the painting accessing different water levels, well, good luck getting in there. But moving on from my gripes with some of these levels, let's get even more divisive with the tower. After getting 50 stars, you aren't met with another Bowser fight, but a few more levels and another star door that does open, but says you can only challenge Bowser for the last time once you've attained 70 stars. Until then, these stairs will loop endlessly while the theme of my sleep paralysis demon plays. So let's check out the two main levels in here, taking on Tick Tock Clock first. I understand why many people don't like this stage. It's very vertical, the platforming is tighter than most levels, and in a game where controlling Mario isn't as smooth as it is in later games, you'll find yourself hurtling into the bottomless void more times than you're willing to count. But, and I know how ironic this sounds with the problems I had with Tall Tall Mountain, a similar concept, I just think this stage is so much fun. The theme is way out there, especially compared to the other levels in the game. Forget grass, water, ice, lava. You're exploring the inside of a clock. That is cool. Also, depending on where the clock hands are facing when you enter the level, the elements of the stage can move at double time, move randomly, or just stay perfectly still. This can help you attain certain stars easily, and the idea of different elements of a stage being determined by how you enter it, which I thought was cool for Wet Dry World, despite all the other problems I had with it, being implemented on a level that does not have the problems that Wet Dry World has in my opinion, makes that a lot more fun. On the complete opposite side of the pendulum, we've got Rainbow Ride. A good amount of people like Rainbow Ride, and I can see why. The large open layout of the area, the flying ship, wall jumping for red coins, the house in the middle. The aesthetic of the stage is really fun, and I understand why many people do enjoy or at least tolerate the stage. I despise it, and for one specific reason: carpets. The very beginning of this stage is essentially an auto-scroller where you sit on this flying carpet and wait for it to take you to the next portion of the stage. Meanwhile, there's a few hazards that are thrown at you to keep you on your toes and try to get you off the carpet. Given Mario's tendency to circle like a dog preparing for bed rather than neatly turn 180 degrees where he stands, you can easily fall off if you're not extremely careful. Also, if you get hit by the flamethrower near the beginning, you're just gonna fall off this thing. Mario runs really fast, and unless you're extremely skilled / lucky, you're not staying on that thing. Now, I understand these elements probably aren't as bad as I'm making them seem, but put yourself in the context of someone who's still getting used to Mario 64's movement and has to deal with this every single time they hop into Rainbow Ride to try and get at least 1 star. Guess who? My first time playing this level became a downward spiral into madness, as I could rarely get past this first section, only to be met by what? Another carpet. Granted, this one is optional as you got branching paths here, but if you're going for 100% completion of this game, which I was, you may want to just get the extra carpet over with, which I tried. These cursed carpets effectively killed my desire to go back and 100% this game, and has kept me from trying again in my later playthroughs. Call me biased, call me dramatic, I know, too burned by my first experience. But these are my honest takes. I just said I don't have nostalgia for this game, not that I have my own specific and personal problems. Also, the secret level up here stinks, and the fact that it boots you outside the castle is a horrible design choice. I would rather lose a life and be kicked right outside the entrance. Okay, I'll shut off the hate machine, I'm sorry. Let's talk about the ending of the game. Getting 70 stars allows us to finally climb the stairs and take on Bowser in the sky. It's another platforming challenge with an optional star from collecting red coins, much like the other Bowser levels. The cool detail here right before the fight is these pillars depict a fight between Mario and Bowser, likely meant to represent their fight in the first Super Mario Bros. Solid Easter egg, that's a fun detail. Okay, now, this fight with Bowser gets more intense. Grander, more threatening music plays. Bowser is lit by this eerie multicolored light, and you have to throw him into a bomb not once, not twice, but 3 times. Epic. In all seriousness though, I love the atmosphere in this final clash, and after the second hit, chunks of the stage fall away into a star pattern. But it's also positioned that none of the bombs are placed against a point on the star, meaning that you can't do any cheap throws here. You have to get Bowser at a pretty good speed to reach these bombs and thus make it harder to time the throw right, which makes that last hit even more satisfying once you pull it off. But at the end of the day, Bowser is defeated. You take a star and fly off to the castle's entrance. Peach is freed and declares that it's time to give Mario his cake. Mario gives us one final look before credits play, and that is Super Mario 64. A game that still handles pretty well today, and was groundbreaking for its time, for sure. There's still a few more miscellaneous things I want to cover before I give my final thoughts. If you obtain all 120 stars in the game, a cannon will become accessible outside the castle, and with it you can reach the castle roof. There to meet you is Yoshi, who gives you a thank you from the game's staff, maxes out your lives, and gives you a sparkly triple jump before leaping into the waterfall. Not the craziest 100% reward, but I guess it is mostly about the journey and not the destination here. Meeting Yoshi at the top of a castle is more of a cherry on top of a fun experience. Super Mario 64 has also been re-released a handful of times and can be played through the Wii and Wii U Virtual Consoles, Nintendo Switch Online, as well as a remake on the DS and included as part of the Super Mario 3D All-Stars package on Nintendo Switch. I originally planned to cover the DS remake in more detail here, but I unfortunately lost track of my copy of the game recently. I may return to Super Mario 64 DS in a later video, but right now it's not part of the plan. In terms of the version included with 3D All-Stars, this was actually the version I played while preparing to make this video. You may notice that me playing that version doesn't line up with the gameplay that you see here. I had some issues with video capture while making this video, so this gameplay is from the original Nintendo 64 version, played by Ricky C and provided by him and longplays.org. Thanks to them for making this resource available for people like me to use. In terms of a casual playthrough, the 3D All-Stars version is near identical to the original release. It's a texture upscaling of the Rumble Pack update that was only released in Japan. Rumble support was added, Mario's famous line, "So long, Bowser," was removed, and you can see a bunch of Marios on the intro screen. But anyone who's involved in the speedrunning community of this game knows the fundamental behind-the-scenes changes that were made. In the original game, Mario can attain an insane level of speed and clip through various walls, doors, and even the infinite staircase, thus making it impossible to beat the game with 0 stars. This version patched that glitch out, and thus makes it non-viable for most speedruns. I bring up speedrunners because this game is one of the most speedran games of all time. Speedrunning is a large part of this game's identity in our culture today, and it has persisted despite all the new games that have come out, with glitches that allow players to breeze through the game at unfathomable speeds. It's just one example of how Super Mario 64 has continued to maintain its relevancy throughout the internet and the world. And it's not just nostalgia that's doing that. Despite its age and some evident clunk and occasional problems with camera and movement, for the most part, Super Mario 64 stands the test of time, and is a game that I would consider worth playing today. Even if you only check it out solely for the novelty of it being the first 3D Mario game, you may end up having more fun with it than you'd expect. Who knows what you'll find within the castle walls. Well, those are my thoughts on Super Mario 64. Next up, Isle Delfino. Quite a lot I want to say about this game, and you definitely don't want to miss it. But for now, I'm Josh. This is my show. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.